Hello everyone, it's Heather. Thank you for joining me for this video today. Over the years, I have gotten a number of requests to do a packing video. People want to see what goes into my packing for a trip or how I get my kids packed and things like that. This video is going to be about packing. We have a trip coming up later this week. We are going to Los Angeles and we're going to be going to Disneyland. This is a 10-night, 11-day trip. However, I am not actually going to show you me packing. I'm going to explain to you the process that goes into us packing and give you some tips and advice for packing. But the reason I'm not going to show you me packing is twofold, and this is the reason I haven't made a packing video before now. Number one is I don't have enough time. We don't have a ton of clothes, and so we always have to do our laundry right before we leave. So we have all of our clothes, and then we need to pack right before we leave. Especially on a longer trip like this, we just don't own enough clothes to be able to have like a lot of extra clothes to be wearing for a few days or whatever before we leave. That's one thing, and I just run out of time. And for the most part, we tend to pack right before we go because we're still wearing stuff or using stuff or whatever before that. For example, on this particular trip, I'm filming this on Monday. We're leaving on Thursday. Our flight is at 9:40 p.m. We're going to do the laundry on Wednesday, and we're going to pack on Thursday before we go to the airport. So it's a pretty tight time window. We have no problem with that, but that would make it very difficult for me to film for you and like get the footage onto my computer and stuff before I leave. Okay. The second reason I don't want to film myself packing is when I'm packing, I need to focus. I need to focus on what I'm doing, and I need to think about what I'm doing, and I need to make sure that I don't forget anything. It's all very well practiced and stuff in my mind, and I have it straight in my head, but if I have to stop and explain it to you as I'm doing it, I'm going to mess up. I'm going to mess up and I'm going to forget something and I'm going to get thrown off. So that's the reason I have not made a packing video, and that's the reason I'm not going to actually show myself packing in its entirety. However, I am going to show you some things, and I'm going to explain to you the process that we go through when we're packing for a trip. Okay, the first thing I want to tell you is just some general packing tips that will apply to whatever trip you're taking and pretty much any situation. There's only two things that you really need to know when you're packing for a trip. You need to know, what am I going to be doing? And what is the weather going to be like? Let's look at the weather forecast for our upcoming trip.
The first step to packing for us is always to look at the weather report. And here is the 10-day forecast for Los Angeles. We are leaving on Thursday the 13th. It's going to be 68, high of 68 and cloudy. It's 72 there right now, typical Los Angeles forecast. And it looks like we're going to have pretty decent weather for the entire time we're there. The lowest low I see is 47, which is about 57 degrees warmer than it is here right now. The current temperature here is -9. Okay, and it's gonna be mainly in the 60s. So there might be one or two, maybe 1 or 2 days that the kids might want to wear shorts, but I still think we're gonna be wearing pants, probably short sleeves, and probably bring a sweater or a sweatshirt, that we can tie around our waist. That's probably going to be the best plan. And I am happy to see that it's either partly cloudy or mostly sunny or sunny the whole time. The day after we get home is the next time it's supposed to rain in LA. So that's nice. So this is definitely a forecast that I can work with.
As long as you know what you're going to be doing and what the weather's going to be like, that is going to determine what clothes you need to bring. The biggest problem that I think that people run into, which we never do because we've gotten very good at it, is overpacking. And so I guess my biggest suggestion to you is, if you really think about what you're going to be doing and what the weather's going to be like, there really is no reason you should be bringing things that I would put in the category of just in case. Okay? You don't need just in case clothes. You don't need, well, I might wear this, or you're not going to be changing your outfit 4 times a day. You need to be content to wear simple, basic, comfortable clothes that are appropriate for the situation. Now, the one place that I do tend to pack more than I would on most other trips is when I'm going on a cruise, because I'll have the clothes I'm wearing around on the ship or on my shore excursion that day or whatever, but then I'll also have dressy clothes or even formal clothes that I'll change into at night for dinner and for pictures and things like that. And that also probably involves an additional pair of shoes. And shoes are one of the things that will take up the most room in your luggage. That's the only time, though, unless there's a specific thing that you have to change into a very specific kind of outfit or get dressed up for something, you really should just be able to make do with simple, basic clothes and factoring in what am I going to be doing and what's the weather going to be like. So, for example, if I'm going to be going horseback riding on my trip, I want to make sure I pack a pair of probably jeans or at least long pants. You do not want to wear shorts when you're riding a horse, okay? And I need some closed-toed shoes, preferably with a heel, like a boot or whatever. But you don't have to have that. The last 2 times we went horseback riding, we were just wearing sneakers, and it was fine. If I'm going to be going swimming, I need to make sure I'm bringing my swimsuit and maybe a cover-up, maybe some sandals to get me to the beach or the pool. Those are some specific examples of what am I going to be doing. Am I going to be going to a formal dinner that I need to bring a gown or a tuxedo or something? But for most trips, especially family vacations and like what we're going to be doing here on this next trip, we don't have any specific thing that we need to dress a specific way for. We're going to be flying on the airplane. We're going to be walking around the airport. We're going to be driving in our rental car. We're going to be going to various attractions where we're walking around, including museums, the Warner Brothers studio tour, walking around Los Angeles, and going to Disneyland. And so the things that we need to wear for something like that, and that would be the case for almost all trips really, is you want to be comfortable, and that goes just for like ease of movement and comfort like that, and you want to be comfortable for the weather. So you don't want to be wearing shorts and a tank top when it's only going to be 45 degrees. And you don't want to be wearing long pants and a turtleneck and a sweater when it's going to be 80. So as long as you know what you're doing and what the weather's going to be like, those are your 2 most important things. And then 2 additional tips I have. One is for flying. Airplanes are cold. I would also say that trains can sometimes be cold. They're air conditioned and climate controlled, and they can be very chilly. Airplanes especially, because you're going so high in the atmosphere and the air around the airplane is cold. So I strongly urge people not to wear shorts on an airplane. It's really better if you always wear pants on an airplane. And that's also from like a cleanliness and touching the seat and things like that. And then always make sure you have like a jacket or a sweater or something to put on the airplane, because it's going to get cold. And then the other overall tip that I want to share with you is the most important thing in what you wear when you're packing is on your feet. You want to make sure you have the most comfortable shoes and practical shoes that you can find. And also, if it's a trip that you're going to be walking a lot, and this would especially be true of like if you're going to Disney, it's often a good idea to bring a second pair of the same kind of shoes, like 2 pairs of walking shoes, 2 pairs of sneakers, because just changing up your shoes from day to day and swapping between 2 pairs can really be good to help you prevent blisters or your feet getting sore, because just that little bit of change of footwear can help with pain in your feet. Also, like at Disney World in Florida, if you're going during May, June through like November, when there's a pretty significant chance of rain happening, it's a good idea to either have a really high quality pair of sandals that you can wear that aren't going to give you blisters and stuff, that it would be okay if they got wet because, you're not wearing socks or anything. or at least a second pair of shoes so that if your shoes that you're wearing do get wet, you have another pair that you can wear the next day while that other pair that got wet is drying. When you pack, a lot of people think packing is just packing my suitcase. The truth of the matter is we have 5 things that need to get packed, but 2 of them really stay packed all the time. The 2 things that stay packed all the time are, number 1, my electronics gear bag, my video gear bag. It's a little black bag. I showed it to you in this video when we came back from a trip. And that's where I keep all of my recording gear and everything like that. That stays packed all the time. When we come back from a trip, I charge everything up. I get all of the photos and video and everything I took off of that and transfer them to my computer. I get everything, cleared off and charged up, and the bag is packed and ready to go for the next trip, so I can literally just grab it. The other thing that's like that is our toiletry bags. Whenever we come back from a trip, if we ran out of something or we're getting low on something or we noticed something, we lost something or whatever, we will buy or replace that item. It's toothpaste or dental floss or ibuprofen or whatever it is. We will replace that item when we get back from a trip so that then it's in the bag and they're in our toiletry bags, and the toiletry bags are fully stocked and ready to go. We keep them in a cupboard in our bathroom, and then we can literally just grab them. Now, we do always have to toss in a couple of everyday use things into our toiletry bags right before we leave. That would include medication and things like, I usually throw in a bottle of Tums. Okay. You could buy a separate bottle and keep those in your toiletry bag all the time. They have little travel size Tums and things too. It's really nice if you can buy travel size. Like, for example, this is my hand cream that I have sitting next to my bed that I use every night and put on to keep my hands from getting dry. But I also have a travel size one. Now this one is one that I bought last time we came back from a trip because the one that I keep in my toiletry bag all the time is getting low. So I'm like, ooh, this is getting low. So I bought a new one. This one's full. This one will go with me now on this trip because it's small. There's 2 advantages to having duplicates of all of your everyday toiletries. One is so that you can keep your toiletry bag basically packed all the time. You have duplicate things of all of your everyday toiletries that you use at home that are only for travel, and you only use them when you travel. The other advantage of having these is, notice this is 2.6 ounces. This can go through security in my carry-on if I don't want to check a bag. So it's a really good idea to make sure you have all of the stuff that you need in 3 ounces or less, so that if you don't want to check a bag, or for some reason you can't check a bag or whatever, and you're just taking a small carry-on, then none of that stuff is going to be a problem getting through security. Okay, so 2 of the 5 things that we have to pack are basically packed all the time. My electronics gear bag and our toiletry bags. But 3 things have to be packed every time we take a bigger trip. When we're taking just a small trip, overnight to up to maybe like 4 or 5 days, depending on the season, we're only going to be taking our small suitcases, and I'm going to have my purse, and Megan's going to have her purse. The gear bag might be in my suitcase, or I might just have it in the car, or sometimes I'll take a tote bag, something like that. But if we're going on a bigger trip like we are right now, we're going to be packing 3 things. We're going to be packing our suitcases, our carry-on bags, and for us, these are backpacks. We take backpacks with us on the plane, and that's what we carry our stuff. Those are our carry-ons. You can take a carry-on, which could either be a small rolly suitcase or something like a backpack. And then you also can have one personal item, which, like in my case, is my purse. So we need to think about packing the suitcase. We need to think about packing the carry-on bag, and we need to think about packing, or I do, my purse. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, this is in my walk-in closet. This is a sleeping bag. Here's my small, like overnight weekender bag. That's 4 wheels, rolls. This is the one I would take for shorter trips. You guys have seen this in my videos before. This would also be one that I could carry on an airplane if I don't want to check a bag. I mean, you can check this too, and if I did that, then that would be my carry-on, and I would have to put my purse inside my backpack. and then that would be my personal item. Okay, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 red big ones. This one is bigger than these 3. These 3 are all the same size. We're going to be using these 3 big ones for this trip. And then the kids' 2 rolly ones are over here. Megan's is the purple one, Ben's is the blue one. They're the same except for the color. There are not a lot of things that go into our suitcase. The main thing is clothes, and if we have an additional pair of shoes or something like that, we would also put in, like, if we need to take a rain jacket or something, will go in there. Our toiletry bags. Now, if we're flying, I'm not going to pack a book in my suitcase. The book is going to go in my backpack that I'm taking on the plane. So really the majority of what goes in my suitcase is basically just my clothes and my toiletries. The one other thing that we put in somebody's suitcase is our little fan. For a long time, we had our fan in the little box that it came in, but that box eventually fell apart and died, and so we have this nice Lands' End tote bag, and our fan fits just perfectly in here. Inside here's our little fan, and we take that with us on all our trips, and this will usually fit in somebody's suitcase. And if we're just taking a road trip, we can also just set it in the car loose and just carry it. Okay, when it comes to actually packing our clothes, this is how we do it. Based on what we're going to be doing and what the weather's going to be like, we usually know basically what we're doing each day, so we have kind of a rough schedule. We plan out each of our outfits. All 3 of us do this. We plan out our outfits and we lay the outfit out. We lay all our outfits out. So we know I need 10 days, because the 11th day, the first day is the day we're traveling. So that's the clothes I'm going to have on. And then there's going to be, for this trip, 10 more days. And so I need to have 10 outfits. And when I say outfits, I mean everything. Bottoms, shirt, underwear, socks. And we put those in piles and actually have them out on the bed. So this is what it'll look like. Pants, shirt, underwear, socks. I usually only will have like 2 bras with, one that I'm wearing and then an extra one. And I will have my whole bed will be covered with little piles like this. For every day of our trip, I will have an outfit. And they'll be like this, and that's what the kids do too. We all make our outfits, so we'll have 10 outfits piled up on the bed, and then we stack them in the order that we're going to be wearing them. The very next day is going to be on top, and, in order. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in order. And so the last outfit we're going to wear is going to be on the bottom, and we will determine which outfit we're wearing on each day based on, again, what we're doing and what the weather's going to be like. Sometimes we'll take along a garbage bag to use as a laundry bag. The kids like doing that. What I've started to kind of tend to do is when I take my clothes off at the end of a day, I actually fold them back up quite neatly and I put them to the bottom of the pile, and I just rotate through them until I've gone through all the outfits. That's why we're not rollers. I don't agree that rolling is actually more space efficient than folding, because I can get that whole 10 outfits in just one corner of my big suitcase. And then I still have a lot of room left. The other thing that we have to pack, obviously, is pajamas. So we'll have another little pile of all of our night clothes that we're going to wear. And then there'll be things like, the swimsuit, maybe some shoes. You can always stuff socks inside shoes to save space, things like that. And the toiletry bag. And that's about all that really goes into our suitcases. All right, all our backpacks, which we use for carry-ons, are kept in this closet. We have a variety of backpacks that we can use. This is usually the one that I use. And the kids will most likely take their Disney backpacks since we are going to Disneyland. The reason we like to use backpacks as carry-ons is because you can put both straps on and have it on your back, and then your hands are free. For some of that, it's so you can pull your suitcase, but also so that you can, pay for stuff, be dealing with your tickets, passports going through security, your phone, all of that stuff. It's really nice to have your hands free, especially when you're making your way through an airport. The things that we will usually have in our carry-on bags are going to be anything that we don't want to take a chance of losing, like if we have some important medication, our paperwork, tickets, our passports, although that's probably going to be like physically on my body. I might put my purse actually in the backpack at some points, just so I have one less thing to carry. And then things like to keep us entertained on the airplane, a book, a magazine. If I have printed out like directions or, paperwork or stuff like that will be in there. I might also put my little technology video gear bag in my backpack, depending on how soon I think I'm going to have to film something and that I might not want to use my phone. Otherwise, I'll put that in my suitcase. Gum for chewing on the plane, maybe a snack, wipes to sanitize the seats, although they usually do give you a wipe to sanitize with when you get on an airplane during the pandemic. So that's the kind of stuff that we'll have in our carry-on, which for us is backpacks. Okay, the last thing I have to think about packing is my purse. Now, this is my everyday purse that I use here at home. You can see, though, it's getting a little scuffed up. I love this purse, but this is a little bigger and not quite as nice as what I want to take with me when I'm traveling. I have quite a bit more in this purse than what I will take with me when we travel. And so I have another purse. This one is the one I'm going to take with me on the trip. And so I'm going to need to take the things out of that purse that I'm going to be taking with me and putting them into this purse. And it's just basically kind of a scaled down version of what I would have in that purse. Okay, here's a couple of specific notes about the things that I make sure I switch around in my purse. And within my purse, I also have a wallet. The first thing I want to do is take out anything that I don't need to have with me on the trip. For example, I don't need my library card, okay? I don't need my movie theater member card. That's only good for our movie theater here in the town where we live. I don't need to have all that extra stuff in my wallet. So anything that I'm not going to need to use on the trip, I'm going to take out and leave at home. One thing that I have to make sure I put in my wallet is I need to make sure I have the credit cards I'm going to be using. I don't normally carry a credit card in my wallet with me all the time. I only use my credit cards for travel for the most part, and they're both points credit cards. It's my Chase Disney Visa and my Capital One Venture card. I need to make sure that I have those with me in my wallet because I wouldn't be carrying them normally. I use the points on my Chase Disney Visa to get a Disney redemption card. It works just like a credit card, but you can only use it at Disney locations. So I need to make sure that I bring that. We also got some Disney gift cards from my dad for Christmas, so I need to make sure I put those in my wallet, so we have those. And then again, making sure I have photo ID, my driver's license or my passport or both. And then one extremely important thing that I need to make sure that I have in my purse, and I have a special little zipper pocket just for this, is our vaccine cards. We're going to Los Angeles, and that's one of the places where they are going to require proof of vaccine for us to get into a lot of the places that we're going. I don't necessarily recommend carrying your vaccine cards with you all the time. We also have photos of the vaccine cards, and we did update the photos after we got our third shots. And I also have those uploaded to my Shutterfly account so that I have them like in the cloud. I could access them. If I'm just around here or something, nobody around here is asking to see vaccine cards. But if I needed to show it for some reason and I didn't have the card physically with me, I do have a photo of it in my phone, which I would have with me. But they're going to want to see the actual card when we go to some of these places in Los Angeles. So I'm going to have the physical cards with me, and we do have little plastic covers that we have those in. They do also have, I've seen online, you can buy a combo passport vaccine holder thing. I don't recommend those. The reason I don't recommend those is because immigration control really doesn't like you to have your passport inside anything. They're always going to want to have you take it out. So I really don't recommend ever having your passport in any kind of a case or a cover. They don't like that. So don't buy those. Don't waste your money. Just have your passport loose. And now, one thing about the covers that we have for our vaccine cards is they do have holes, which I bought a pack of 5, I think, from Amazon. They were really cheap. And they seal really good and tight. When we've had to take our cards back out for them to give us our subsequent shots, they're kind of hard to get open, actually, which is nice because I know they're nice and protected in there. But these are meant for like badges and stuff, and so you could actually put these on a lanyard and wear them around your neck. Now, I don't know that you're going to want to be wearing your vaccine card around your neck, but that brings me to something else that's really important to remember to take on a trip, especially right now, and that is masks and mask chains. Got a nice supply of KN95 masks now that should last us for our whole trip and then some, and so I need to take those along with me. And obviously you want to have a decent amount of those on your person, like in your carry-on, and don't just put them all in your suitcase and not have a backup. Okay, and I will usually take also some surgical masks with as well, just in case we're in a less risky situation, and Ben likes to wear those for comfort. And then mask chains are really nice. These are just like kind of little things like this, and they clip to the ear loops of the mask. You can adjust it and you put them around your neck, and then you clip your mask ear loops. So you'd want to put this up. You clip your mask ear loops, so then when you need to take your mask off, you know, because you're going to eat or drink something or whatever, your mask is just hanging right here. You don't have to worry about putting it in a pocket or setting it on the table, or, you know, I cannot stand people pulling their masks down under their chins. They are not designed to do that. You've never seen a medical person who wear masks all the time. They don't do that. When you pull them down under your chin, you're stretching out the ear loops. And that's why every time you wear it after that, they don't fit right anymore and they slide off your nose. Please don't do that, okay? If you need to take your mask off because you need to show it to your face to TSA agent, or you need to eat or drink, use a mask chain, or at the very least, take it all the way off by the ear loops. The only way you should ever be touching your mask is by the ear loops, okay? You should be putting it on with the ear loops. Okay? And taking it off with the ear loops. You shouldn't be touching this part of the mask. And that's true whether it's a cloth mask, a surgical mask, or a KN95 mask like this. And that's why mask chains can be really handy, because you take it off by the ear loops and then it hangs by the ear loops here on you, and you're not going to lose it or anything, and it doesn't have to touch anything else. And that's basically everything. Now, obviously, I'm not touching on every single thing you might pack. The specific things that you personally are going to pack for a trip are really going to be dependent on you, what you use, what you need. And again, those same two things I said from the very beginning, what you're going to be doing and what the weather's going to be like. So you're going to have to tweak your packing based on those things. Like, for example, one thing that I personally always have to have with me is sunglasses. I have very sensitive eyes. I'm very pale. My eyes are very sensitive to brightness. And I have different sunglasses. I have sunglasses that will fit over my glasses, and I have regular sunglasses for when I'm wearing my contact lenses. Depending on what I know I'm going to be doing, like if I'm going to be driving a lot and I know I'm not going to wear my contacts every day, I want to make sure I have the kind that fit over my glasses. But if I know I'm going to be putting on my contacts every day, I can just bring the regular kind, and sometimes I'll bring both. Other things that you might need, depending on who you have in your family. If it's that time of the month, you want to make sure you bring feminine hygiene supplies. If you have a baby or a toddler, you're going to want to make sure that you bring the things for them, like diapers and wipes and teething toys, bibs, burp rags, things like that. It's a good idea for each individual person to have their own suitcase. And I know that when you're checking bags, that can start to get expensive, but it can be hard to try to, we've done that a couple times where we tried to share suitcases, and it can be done, but it can just be a little bit more manageable when each person has their own suitcase. Now, one thing, a trick that I know that some people do in case somebody's suitcase gets lost, is they will each put one or two of their outfits in the other person's suitcase. You know, like have one outfit for each person in the other people's suitcase. We've never actually done that. I've only had a bag get lost once in my life, and it was a long, long time ago, and it was when I was coming home, so it didn't really matter. and Delta brought it right to my house later. My basic overall philosophy is there's just a few things that you absolutely must have. And right now, that does include your proof of vaccination. You need to have ID. And for international travel, obviously that's your passport. And you need to have money or the means to pay for things. And then the only other thing that I think is really, really important is to have very comfortable shoes, okay? As long as you have those things, the truth of the matter is you can buy everything else. If you forget something and you have money, you can find a Walgreens and buy toothpaste and, whatever you need. I have forgotten things in the past and have bought a lot of things when I've forgotten things. Our trip to Walt Disney World in 2015, I completely forgot to pack socks. And I ended up buying a whole bunch of, we were there for 8 days or whatever. I ended up buying cute little Mickey ankle socks in the gift shop at Port Orleans Riverside. They had the socks that I needed. And so now I have my cute little Mickey socks that I like to take with me when we go on Disney trips because I bought them that time. I've had to buy phone charger, I think. I've had to buy wipes, I know, in the past. But the truth is, as long as you have those key things, comfortable shoes. I mean, you could even buy shoes if you absolutely had to, but you must have something on your feet. So I don't know how you'd get around that. But the shoes, your identification, your phone probably in this day and age, because that's going to have a lot of stuff on it, and your vaccination cards and money to pay for things. Everything else is really not something to stress about because you can probably buy it somewhere. Obviously, that's a hassle, and remember, if your airline does lose your luggage, and I'm not sure what the time limit is like for how long it takes them to find it and get it back to you, you are entitled to some money to buy those things that you need to tide you over until they find your luggage and get it back to you. Once we have everything all packed up, we really are quite compact and efficient. And this is a really key tip for you. One thing that's really important is everybody needs to be able to manage their own stuff. So your kids need to be able to manage their own stuff. And the way that I did that as my kids grew, the suitcases we have now are not the same suitcases we've always had. When they were little, when they were toddlers even, they had little suitcases. Their clothes are smaller, they're smaller. They can handle pulling their own little suitcase. They can wear their own little backpack. Even if you are taking a car seat on a plane, which I always did, I've always bought my kids when they were babies and toddlers their own seat and brought the car seat with. You can, hook that onto the handle of your suitcase and just roll it along with you. You want to have your hands free and you want to be able to manage with everybody carrying their own stuff. I know when my kids have signed up for these international travel programs through school and when Andrew studied abroad and when I studied abroad, they're very firm on that. They're like, you have to be able to carry whatever you bring with you yourself. Nobody's going to help you. Recently, since I got injured, I have needed help. I can pull my suitcase, but I can't lift it up and get it into the trunk of the car. And I can't lift it up and get it into the higher shelf on the shuttle bus between the rental car thing and the airport. So Megan has had to do that for me. And occasionally a nice, helpful man or something that's nearby will help us. They'll see that I'm a woman with my 2 kids, and people are very friendly, and they're like, oh, do you need some help with that? And they'll just whip it up there for us. Do remember, though, your flight attendant's job is not to lift your suitcase for you into the overhead bin. They're not required to do that. That's your job. If you want to take something that needs to go in the overhead bin, you have to be able to lift it up there and put it up there yourself. That's something a lot of people don't realize, and they're always thinking, well, the flight attendant's going to put it up there for me. No. Okay, so you want to get it down to as manageable and compact. You don't want to have a whole bunch of loose stuff. If you can do that and you can get it down to, so literally I've got my purse around my shoulder, I've got my backpack on, and I'm pulling my suitcase. And once I check my suitcase at the airport, I don't even have that. Now I've literally just got my backpack and my purse, and sometimes I put my purse in my backpack. So literally all I have is my backpack. And that's how you want to travel. You want it to be that compact so you can be as efficient as possible and have your hands free as much as possible. I mean, this is really nice. Just think about like the logistics of if you need to eat or if you need to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. You don't want to have to be hauling a whole bunch of stuff with you, especially if you're traveling alone and you don't have somebody who can like watch your stuff for a minute while you run to the bathroom or whatever. So there you go. There's all of our packing strategy, how we do things, and all the tips I can think of off the top of my head right now. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you have any questions about packing or travel or anything like that, please be sure to leave them in the comments below. I always answer everybody's questions in the comments. And otherwise, if you have any tips or tricks that I haven't mentioned that have been really helpful or useful to you when you're traveling and packing, leave those in the comments below because they can help other people too. Give me a thumbs up down below if you liked this video. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. We have a whole bunch of content coming from our trip to Los Angeles and Disneyland, and you don't want to miss out. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.